Is everybody having fun? I mean, this is, for your ticket price, can I just say, this is one of the best events I've ever been a part of. You are being able to like interact and meet and hear from these amazing minds, and it's really exciting, and I'm having fun sitting back there listening as well. I'm going to welcome Brad Dacus, who is an attorney and president of the Pacific Justice Institute. His mission is to defend religious liberties and parental rights. Most recently, Brad and the lawyers at Pacific Justice fielded suits to stop AB 266, commonly known as the co-ed bathroom bill that we talked a lot about on the Morning Answer. So I'm sure he might have some things to say about that bill today. Please help me welcome Brad Dacus.
Thank you very much. It is awesome to be here. And wow, this is great. You know, I'm telling you something. President Obama, he has been the biggest disappointment. I don't know why I voted for him. Oh, just kidding. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I mixed that up. I watched this debate the other night, and I got that from this candidate running for governor of California. So it wasn't Tim Donnelly, it was the other guy. So anyway, so how many have heard of Pacific Justice Institute before? Raise your hand. Okay, very good. Very good. I appreciate that very much. We handle last year alone several thousand requests for assistance, every one of them without charge. And we presently handle more case matters on the West Coast defending religious freedom, parents' rights, and basic civil liberties under the Constitution than any other organization in the country, bar none. And in fact, we're going to have, they're going to pass out some sign-up sheets for those of you who want to keep up with our cases. I know if you're here, then the answer is yes. So if you could do that, that'd be great. We'd love to keep you updated. Now, I want to say that do we have challenging today? Yes. I'm going to talk about several categories. One is in the workplace. There is an attitude of purging, actual purging in the workplace, particularly in government sectors and with government jobs. I know there's a lady who works for Santa Clara County Child Protective Services. And they're not exactly the most conservative there. And the problem is, she was having lunch one day, and what happened was she said something about Obamacare. She said, you know, I heard that even Kaiser Permanente acknowledged there's going to be thousands of people losing their insurance because of Obamacare. I see it's such a shame. That's all she said. She was brought into the HR's office and said, you created a disturbance when you said something negative about Obamacare. You are not allowed to say anything like that ever again. And this is the place where they wear Obama for President buttons all throughout the office, okay? Well, I'm going to tell you something. In the United States, well, in other countries where, you know, like Cuba, China, former Soviet Union, where they, you know, decide to say if you work for the government, you have to agree with the government and those in power. You know, I can see that in those countries. But this is the United States of America. And we will not stand up for that in the United States of America. Then we've got the gentleman, maybe Boot Hawks. Maybe you've seen some of the video that we put out on him telling his story. He works in Stockton and for a hospital there, and he has a sign-off. He's a veteran, and it was Veterans Day, and so he had Employee of the year before, so he's doing a good job, right? And he was a 20-year veteran. He decided to put God Bless America as a sign-off on his emails to employees. That's what other people say, have a good day, you know, say la vie, whatever. He put God Bless America. He was called into the HR office, and he was told, you have to stop doing that. Because you see, one of the directors of our hospital takes offense to that phrase. And so, because of the word God. And so, he said, well, okay, I'll stop, but I'm going to find out. This doesn't sound right. I'm going to talk to an attorney or someone to find out if this is legal. She said, oh, really? Well, in that case, you're put on leave, unpaid leave. Immediately take your stuff out of your desk and go home. And someone told him about Pacific Justice Institute. And so we're representing him and going to bat for him. Then there's also countless numbers of union workers. We at Pacific Justice Institute love to defend the rights of union workers. Oh, wait a minute. What group is this again? Okay, no. Now I'll finish the story. The rights of union workers to be able to stand up to their union and never have a penny of their dues ever go to their union again, instead transferred. And you know, only 1 in 1,000 union workers know that they have a right under Title VII, that all union workers have a right under Title VII to have all of our union dues, every penny of it, diverted to a charity of their choice instead of the union. In fact, there's some here saying, what? Elmer, did he say what I did? Yes, Mildred, that's exactly right. 100%. And we have started a campaign, a special website, choosecharity.org, which makes it real easy for people to do just that, and we're excited about that. And then you have the latest example, with a gentleman, Mr. Dr. Eric Walsh. Did you read about that? Worked in the health department, city of Pasadena. And not because of the job he did a fantastic job caring and helping everyone, including AIDS patients. But because of something that was on the internet, of a sermon he preached at his church, he's one of the associate pastors at a Seventh-day Adventist church, on his religious beliefs with regards to homosexuality and Islam. Because of that, because of his beliefs, he was intimidated out of his position. Because of his beliefs, he was forced to withdraw from giving a commencement speech at the university, at Pomona College. Because of his beliefs, as of this morning, it was announced on the newspapers that he is being denied a position to work in the state of Georgia because of his personal religious beliefs. The purging is happening in the workplace, and we and all of us must stand up to it, because we are the United States of America. And that's what freedom's about. Then we see also attacks on the schools. And I have 2 children myself. I have a 12-year-old boy who thinks he's 18 anyway. And that's a joke. He's a great kid. And then I have a 10-year-old girl. And when you become a parent, issues dealing with schools, even if your children aren't in a public school, they take on a different dimension, because they're real kids, real children. And our children today are being hit right and left with agendas and policies that our founding fathers, I think, would find atrocious. Like, for example, is something I'm sure you've heard of, AB 1266. Yes. How many of you signed the referendum to get this put on the ballot? Excellent. Very good. 620,000 people signed a referendum to have it put on the ballot, which is fantastic. And here's what it is. Now, this is a new law signed by Governor Jerry Brown, passed by the legislators in Sacramento, which says that if a boy who claims that inside he feels that he is a girl, that he will have the ability to immediately be able to go into the girls' bathroom, the girls' locker room, the girls' showers. Even if the boy's parents say no, too bad. If the boy's psychiatrist says absolutely not, this will be very counterproductive, too bad. Even if there are girls in the bathroom, in the locker room, in the shower, changing, dressing, too bad. And by the way, it doesn't discriminate. Girls who feel like they're boys have the same prerogative. And mind you, are there students out there who have what's called gender identity dysphoria? Yes. It is a real mental condition. It's a dysphoria. And we should have love and compassion for all kids, no matter where they are, what they're going through, without a doubt. But folks, that doesn't mean you completely, literally strip the right of privacy for every boy and girl in the state of California to do that. And so we at Pacific Justice Institute are challenging that. Right now, the Secretary of State's office determined that 130,000 of those signatures were invalid, leaving us 17,000 short. Yes, boo. So what we've done is, we at Pacific Justice Institute, we don't get angry over these things. We just sue. And so that's what we're doing. Our attorneys are working their tails off right now we have found out we have to bring a separate action against all the counties as parties to the action in order to be able to subpoena to get copies of these invalidated signatures. And so that's what we're doing. It's an arduous task, a very heavy burden on us, and yet we're carrying it through because the stakes are simply too high. We worked so hard to get these signatures. Now it's time for us to defend each and every one of them. And I assure you of this, that if every valid signature is truly counted, I'm confident that we will have enough to get it on the ballot, if not in November of 2014, at the very least November of 2016. And in that worst case scenario, it will still be held in check and not enforceable at all. So keep us in your prayers and let's watch this. This is a good thing. We've also are dealing with another piece of hideous legislation, SB 1172, very cold-hearted piece of legislation is what I call it. Because what it says is, it says that if there's a boy or girl under the age of 18 in California and they're struggling with same-sex attraction, which, folks, isn't really that unusual, particularly for early adolescence. There's a lot of confusion taking place. That those kids who want counseling in accordance, in parallel with their religious beliefs and convictions to steer them away from that lifestyle, steer them away from that orientation, that those children with this law will not be able to get any counseling from any licensed counselors, including clergy that are licensed counselors, at any time, anywhere in the state of California. Is that a free society? No. It's hideous, yes. And so it is very outrageous. And we at Pacific Justice Institute went into federal court. A federal judge, in a 38-page opinion, slapped the state of California in the face with a preliminary injunction preventing its enforcement against our clients. Well, then the state of California, they're sore losers. They filed an appeal to the Ninth Circuit. The Ninth Circuit reversed it. And here's the decision. The Ninth Circuit said that anything, because this is mental health, anything dealing with mental health with regard to state actions, that's completely exempt from any kind of First Amendment scrutiny at all. That's their ruling, which opens the door for all kinds of tyranny when it comes to state controlling of children, where children go on Sunday mornings or wherever, or Saturday mornings. I mean, so it's a serious threat to freedom and liberty. We at Pacific Justice then brought it en banc to the broader Ninth Circuit. We wanted a divided Ninth Circuit before we brought it to the Supreme Court. We had, of the 10 justices, we had 3 who, in a strong dissenting opinion, agreed with us. And now we've filed a petition for certiorari to the United States Supreme Court and hoping and praying that they'll take it up. So that is an awesome case for freedom and liberty. And then there was AB 323. This was prevented, this was halted. We worked hard along with many people to halt this from becoming law. But what this did, it almost passed, folks. All they needed is a few more seats in the assembly, and this would have become law. You know what this was? This would have repealed the state tax-exempt status of every nonprofit youth organization in the state of California that was unwilling to hire youth leaders who were homosexual or transsexual or transgendered. This would have applied to the Boy Scouts by name. They said the Boy Scouts by name. Also, it would apply, though, to Youth for Christ, Young Life, Awanas, 4-H Club, all of these, that if they have values and beliefs and convictions contrary to a few elite in Sacramento, then they would have tremendous punishment because of their beliefs and convictions. You know, the whole concept of religious freedom is just that. The Establishment Clause was for that purpose of government don't bully and be preferential towards religious groups. That's what it's about, and yet that's exactly what this legislation is attempting to do. And so it's depriving our freedom of conscience and beliefs via our children and our youth organizations. Fortunately, that was halted, but if it ever is passed, you can be assured the Pacific Justice Institute will be bringing him to court the next day. The challenge also extends to even religious institutions, churches, synagogues, home Bible studies. San Juan Capistrano not long ago had a policy that shut down a home Bible study. You guys hear about this? Shut them down, and the reason was because a neighbor complained. And the rule was that if a neighbor complains, doesn't like a meeting of any kind, a regular basis of any kind, of 3 or more people, then it's immediately shut down. And that's what happened in this Bible study. They got fined $500, and they fined and fined. We at Pacific Justice took him to court. Make a long story short, the city council got involved and reformed the policy, and now we have a model policy that the rest of the country can use that defends and protects such gatherings. There was also a little church down in Guatai, California. It's the only church in town. That's how small of a town this is. Maybe our RFD looked like a metroplex, okay? And yet this little town, this little church has been there 20 years. And we have a great video on this case on our website as well. You can watch this on the YouTube. But as it turns out, they were shut down, padlocked. And the reason? Because the county found out that 23 years ago that it was technically rezoned to be a bar, a country western bar. Now, it never was a country western bar, but they forgot to rezone it back again to being a church. So they were going to fine them they were having to pay over $300,000. And it was padlocked until the bounty was paid, if you will, to the government of the county of San Diego. We at Pacific Justice went into federal court. We got the padlock removed. After 4 years of litigation, that church is now solidly protected, as it should be. And then there was the great crescendo case against the city of San Leandro that told the church they couldn't move into a facility, that the church had bought this building in a nice area, commercial area. City said, no, you can't move here because you're going to lose your property tax revenue. We can't lose our property tax revenue. You can't be here. You're church people. We don't want you here. So we filed a lawsuit. We lost at the federal court level. A judge from San Francisco. All right, you know. And then we appealed it to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, I know what you're wondering. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. What good thing can come from the Ninth Circuit? I know what you're thinking. Well, folks, just remember this. If in the Old Testament, God can speak through a donkey, anyway, and that's what happened. The Ninth Circuit reversed the lower court on all 7 counts and gave us, a precedent that will now be used throughout the entire United States of America. I will tell you, folks, do we have challenges? Yes. We have serious, serious challenges to our future. And it's not just to us, really, it's to our children, our grandchildren. That's where the challenge is right now. And yet I will tell you this. I am not going to Texas. I'm not going to Costa Rica. Because I see so much potential. Last year we had more victories in the courts than ever in our nation's history as Pacific Justice. And in fact, on October 18th, our big gala we're putting on, we're going to have Dr. Ben Carson and Kevin Sorbo. So I hope you guys can come. Please fill out, by the way, the white sheets before you leave, and then pass them on the break. There'll be people at the doors you can give those to. I'd love to keep you guys updated. But just remember this. In the big scheme of things, there's 2 factors that determine whether or not we will prevail. One is whether we have truth. The reality of truth, in the end, always perseveres to the end. And number 2 is, do we have the depth of perseverance to see that truth conveyed and carried out? I tell you here today, in this room, we have both. And with that, we will take the hill and save the United States of America by the grace of God. Thank you very much. God bless you.